A shock Lib Dem victory in South Cambridgeshire is the biggest news from this year's council elections in the region. Voters went to the polls on Thursday, May 3rd, to elect new councillors on Cambridge City Council and South Cambridgeshire District Council. Elections were also held for Huntingdonshire District Council and Peterborough City Council. Vote counting ran through the night and into Friday, May 4th, as candidates nervously awaited their electoral fates. The Liberal Democrats recorded a stunning triumph in South Cambridgeshire, wresting control of the council from the Tories after more than a decade in charge. The party claimed their victory was part of a Brexit-fueled backlash, an issue that loomed large over elections across the country. In Cambridge, Labour remained the dominant force on the council, with the Liberal Democrats only up one seat. As the results poured in from across the region, news reporters were on hand to cover live the highs and lows of election night. In Cambridge, 15 city council seats were up for grabs, while in South Cambridgeshire all seats were being contested after major boundary changes. Candidates were also vying for all 52 seats in Huntingdonshire, and 18 out of 60 seats were in contention in Peterborough. Here's our roundup of all the results, headlines and ins and outs of Cambridgeshire's elections. National overview. Prime Minister Theresa May. Image, Toby Melville, PA Wire. It was a mixed picture for the major political parties after 149 out of 150 councils holding elections had declared their results. Labour failed to make the gains that many in the party were hoping for, making a net gain of just 59 seats and losing control of one authority. The Conservatives lost control of 2 councils and ended the elections with 31 fewer councillors. For the Liberal Democrats it was a rosier picture, following a difficult few years for the party. It gained an extra 75 seats and control of 4 extra councils, including South Cambridgeshire. Prime Minister Theresa May hailed the results a success for the Conservatives, saying voters backed great local services at lower taxes delivered by Tory councils. "But we won't take anything for granted," she said. "We will continue to work hard for local people and we will build on this success for the future." Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn. Image, Ollie Scarf, AFP, Getty Images. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn said there was much more to come from his party, but acknowledged disappointment in some areas. He told Sky News, "We were defending seats that were last won in 2014, which was a particularly good year for Labour in local government. Obviously, I am disappointed at any places where we lost a bit of ground, but if you look at the overall picture, Labour gained a lot of seats across the whole country. We gained a lot of votes in places we never had those votes before." According to election guru Professor Sir John Curtis, votes in the local elections equated to a 35% share for both Labour and the Conservatives. BBC's projection suggested that, if the result was repeated at a general election, there would be another hung parliament with Labour on 283 seats in the Commons compared to the Conservatives' 280. Cambridge City Council. Labour celebrate the Cambridge Council election 2018 results. A nail-biting recount saw Labour win a seat it has not held since 1945 by just 4 votes, in Cambridge City elections. But the party's main opposition, the Liberal Democrats, won 2 new seats, one from Labour and one from an independent. Labour ended the electoral contest with a majority of 10 on the council, the same as it had before the election. The party lost Market Ward to the Liberal Democrats but gained the Trumpington seat. Out of the 15 seats up for grabs, Labour won 10 and the Liberal Democrats 5. Cambridge election results. This is how the city voted. Brexit was touted as a key issue for voters across England this year, but councillors in Cambridge disagreed over whether it had played a role in Cambridge's elections. CLLR John Hipkin is now the only independent councillor on the city council, and Oscar Gillespie is still the only Green councillor. The Conservatives and UKIP failed to take any seats on the council. The turnout for the election was 37.8%. South Cambridgeshire District Council. Bridget Smith and her winning team. Image, David Johnson. The Liberal Democrats pulled off one of the surprises of this year's elections by surging to take control of the council in South Cambridgeshire. The party more than doubled its number of seats as voters in every ward went to the polls following a raft of boundary changes. A jubilant Bridget Smith, leader of the South Cambs Lib Dems, heralded the shock victory as proof the party's message was cutting through nationally, with many at the count claiming opposition to Brexit had played a large part in the victory. "Demonstrates how unhappy people have been with the administration in South Cambridgeshire for the past 4 years," said CLLR Smith. Conservative group leader Peter Topping, who was elected in the Whittlesford ward, said his party would reflect on the result and regroup. "There are a number of things which I think have contributed to this. I'm not going to say it was this and it was that. The important thing is to pause and have a think. What is this telling us? He said. The boundary changes have not helped us, but they were put in place by the Boundary Commission, so we have to accept them. The South Cambridgeshire count in action. Image, David Johnson. The election also saw controversial former Tory candidate George Stokely, who was suspended from the party following revelations of his prior homophobic and anti-Semitic tweets, fail to win a seat. He won over 800 votes but was not elected in Fendon and Fulbourn. The Liberal Democrats won 30 of the 45 seats up for election, with the Conservatives securing 11, Labour 2 and Independents also taking 2. South Cambridgeshire election results. This is how the district voted. Huntingdonshire District Council. The count for Huntingdonshire District Council. Image, Huntingdonshire District Council. Twitter. In the district's first full council election since 2004, it was the Conservatives who marched to victory. The party held the council by winning 30 of the 52 seats available. Local group putting St. Neots residents first took 6 seats behind the Liberal Democrats. Voter turnout was just under a third at 32.7%. This is how Huntingdon voted in the council elections. Peterborough City Council. The Conservatives stormed to victory in Peterborough in the local council elections. Previously the council was divided and under no overall control. The Tories held on to 4 wards, gaining 2 wards from Labour and 1 from UKIP. They also lost 1 to Labour and 1 to the Green Party. Labour held 4 wards but lost 1 to the Lib Dems. This is what happened in Peterborough at the council elections. The Lib Dems held 2 wards and the Independents held a ward. There were 18 seats up for grabs. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson cited the city when asked for his thoughts on the Conservatives' performance across the country. He said, "This is one of the times when you would expect the governing party to take a bit of a hammering, but actually when you look at what's happened, we have done well in Peterborough, we have done well in Dudley, all sorts of places where we are doing very well."